John Ernst Matzeiger was born in 1852 and he died in 1889. He was the first African American to make the shoe lasting machine. It was where the sole connected to the leather. He had two investments, but at the age of 36, he died to an illness called tuberculosis. What do you think this world would be without shoes? That's a Black History fact.
What's going on, Chazz?
Hey, how you doing today, big brother?
All right, man. You like our new introduction?
Yeah, and Khalil was actually spitting some facts that I was pretty much learning myself. And like you said, this is a new way that we're doing it here, and I'm enjoying it myself.
Well, good. First of all, I want to tell everyone welcome to another broadcast of Adults Only Real Conversations. We're going to put that real conversations on it because we have real conversations. This broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we're asking those who haven't subscribed yet to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. In fact, if you want to go over to our YouTube channel and check us out and tell us how we look, how we sound, go ahead and do that because we're trying to welcome those that are going to be a part of our broadcast as far as our YouTube channel. So we want to thank all those. We have a couple of people who've already signed up for our broadcast. So we want to thank all those who's newly subscribed to our Adults Only Real Conversations. And your support lets us have the conversations that actually matters. So Chazz, having said that, we're going to start off talking about where we left off at last week. And I'm going to put it on the bottom of the screen now. There you have it. Black history. What does being grown mean? You think we should have this discussion? This is the fifth week, it looks like, because we got to talk about Black history from the perspective of how did our ancestors, how did they prove to us that they were grown? So we're going to look at that. And I know you have many things to add to that because we're going to look at what being grown is. So I'll let you take it away as we start talking about what does being grown mean? Just because we have children, does that necessarily mean we're grown? Just because we have a job, a house, or an apartment, clothes, just because we have things, that doesn't necessarily mean we're grown. So let's talk about defining being grown, and then we'll look at how it relates to our ancestors during Black history.
Being grown describes a person who has developed mentally, emotionally, and behaviorally. And I'm looking at my notes here, and that's basically reaching a full physical, mental, and emotional maturity, transitioning from childhood to adulthood, not using an excuse of being an adult as an excuse to act a fool. So we hear that saying a lot. I'm grown. I can do what I want. I'm grown. I can do whatever. Yeah, you are grown, but that doesn't excuse you from acting silly, acting foolish. Some of us, like we said last week, we don't act our age. We're constantly playing around. We're constantly doing stuff we have no business doing. And I think we misrepresent that phrase a lot when we say that because I'm grown. Well, if you are saying that you're grown and acting like that, that's the doggone shame. But in a nutshell, brother, it's basically saying being in a mature state of mind, emotionally and physically as well.
And that's what I like to think about when I talk about my ancestors and I talk about Black History Month, although we know Black History is not a month, it's a year. But we're honoring Black history during this month of February. But I think we need to look at our ancestors and how they were developed. They were mentally, most of them. Now, a lot of them may have been childish, but for the most part, we know that many of them, they showed us that they had a developed mindset.
Yes.
They were emotionally strong to go through what they had gone through and put up with what they had to put up with, and then their behavior. So I think we definitely need to talk about how being grown means that we have to look at our ancestors and look at the past and see some of the traits and characteristics that they showed us as far as what they did to show that we're grown. Because I agree with you, a lot of us, we're not really acting grown. We're grown. I would say when it comes to our age, our numbers are big, but the way we act is very childish, and that's what our problem is. Many of us.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that. You said that you want to talk about the ancestors that basically showed the way for us. And I'll just bring up a few as far as Harriet Tubman. She was confrontational. Now, you see her picture on the screen here, a very, very resilient sister. And she was an abolitionist and a social activist. After escaping slavery, Harriet Tubman made 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people. Now, we know her backstory. She got a lot of pushback. This is against her own people. So can you imagine all the mental and physical abuse that she was going through trying to help free her people, and these people are basically going tit for tat for her? I mean, this is ridiculous, and that's just one of our ancestors that were actually pretty profound, and we're going to expand a little bit more a little bit later on. Letter A. Being grown means staying up and not staying quiet when rebellion is necessary. Confrontational. And that's what I literally just said, that she was confrontational, which she knows she had a lot of heat on her. She had a lot of people that probably wanted her in a casket, but she confronted these slave owners. She confronted these people to fight back, and for her own people. See, she wasn't so selfish saying, I'm going to get mine. I don't care about whatever happens to all these other people. I got to make sure I get free. No, and it costed her, because once again, these same people she tried to free very want tit for tat for her. So it's just bad. It's really bad.
And that's one of our issues that we face today is, we always think about grownness or growing up, but we stay quiet a lot. She stood out for what she believed was right. She risked her life, man. And a lot of us don't realize the dangers that she had to face taking trips, from the south to the north so many times, going back and forth, peril all around her. And she had to rebel, and she did it. She was very confrontational. And I believe that's one of the issues that we have to kind of drive on today as we talk about Black history. What does being grown mean? Because, Chazz, we argue and complain a lot, but many of us don't do anything. We just like to expose the problem. She took the problem in her hand, and she did something by taking people who were enslaved to the north. A lot of us just like to shine a light on the problems, but we don't want to do anything about the problem. So this is why I've learned that standing up for what you believe in and being rebellious is pertinent. It's very important.
Well said. Sister Marie, she fires in here. She says, Hotel Brothers, we appreciate her. Sister Mashonda fires in here. She says, Hotel, we appreciate her for logging in. And Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, Hotel, I couldn't connect on YouTube. And Sister Marie says, looking good on YouTube. So we're having mixed things here. So for Sister Barbara, I would suggest restart your phone and try logging in on YouTube, and make sure you're spelling it correctly. Adults Only with Real Conversations. Or maybe you make me want to text Sister Marie and see how she got on. But we're having mixed messages here, but hopefully Sister Barbara can log in. As we move on to letter B, being grown means having discipline. And having discipline, that for all of us, see, it's easy for us to take the shortcut, do things that we don't, for us to do things that we really want to do. But being disciplined says, you know what, I really want to go out and have a good time tonight, but it's not worth it. Or I really want to do things that I know I shouldn't do, but I'm going to stay my butt on this inside and sacrifice and not risk my life doing this. And this is what some of the people did. For example, Malcolm X, I'm pretty sure in their time, they had their own things like we have clubs and stuff now. But he was disciplined enough to say, you know what? And a lot of people hated his guts. So he had to be more disciplined. He had to be more cautious.
Yeah, we got to stop saying what we're going to do and then do what we say we're going to do. And I'm going to repeat that because that phrase is really important, because many of us are that way. We got to stop saying what we are going to do and then do what we say we're going to do. I hear it all the time. And even in my own life, I challenge myself about always talking and not putting action behind my words. And that's a sign of immaturity. And that's one of the issues that the African American community has right now. And that's because many of us, we talk a lot, but we don't do like Harriet Tubman and other people we're talking about, because they put some action behind their words, you see. And that's one of the downfalls that I can say that we have on this whole Black History Month, this Black History honoring. A lot of us, Chazz, is something wrong with us that we're adults, but yet we don't act like we're grown, because there's a difference from being an adult and then being grown. And as you can see, this is what we're talking about.
An adult is a person who has reached a certain age and is legally recognized as responsible for their actions. I'll let you take that and I'll just piggyback off of you.
Yeah, because they should be. We adults should be responsible for our actions. We have so much going on in our lives. We have so much going on, just period, as a people. And yet it doesn't seem like we want to pull together to do what we need to do. And I'm not talking about all of us, just even a few of us. We don't like to watch things. We don't like to watch broadcast podcasts. We don't like to watch videos. Anything that's going to educate us, to help us become mature, we don't want to watch it. But the foolishness, the nonsense, the reality TV, the bickering, the arguing, the fighting, the profanity, the vulgarity, it seems like this is something that we gravitate to. And I believe that's why our ancestors, even though they went through a lot, they did much more because they were under so much scrutiny, and so are we today. There's nothing changed, but yet if you look at it, Chazz, it appears that as adults today, we just seem to always want to complain about the problem, but we don't want to do anything about it, as we see this sister here, Bessie Coleman.
Mm-hmm. And Bessie Coleman, looking here on my notes here, that's why I had that quick pause. She was the first African-American sister who was a pilot. She got her own license. Now, apparently, hate to say this here, she passed away in a crash, but this sister got her license at a very young age, and this is a good picture of her actually standing, it looks like, on this plane or what have you. And this is our sister Bessie Coleman, who got her first license as an African-American sister.
And just think about what she had to go through. Just think about, she was grown, the way she acted. She had to go to France to get her aviation license because racism in the United States, they weren't giving an African-American woman her license. She
Right.
went through so much, man, and she was the first African-American woman and the first Native American woman to earn a pilot's license as far as aviation. And even today in aviation, many of us should thank her because she's the one who actually broke the door down and showed everyone that we're just like everyone else when it comes to our achievements and our feats and the things that we can do. And once again, Chazz, I just believe we're living in the belly of the beast now, where many of us just don't seem to be excited about anything. And I don't know what it's going to take. But at the same time, we have examples galore to show us what our ancestors did to let us know that we are great people. And if we just put our minds to it and stop always talking about unity and become a part of that, then we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, Sister Coleman, Bessie Coleman, I give her a lot of credit because some of these things that we look back on it now, we take it for granted. We sit down in these air-conditioned homes and apartments. We got all this stuff that we really want. But back then, they had to really fight and scrap and go tooth and nail to get some of these things. So I think that we're not actually appreciating them as much as we should because, once again, back in those days, her and Sister Tubman and Carter G. Woodson, as we're going to talk about, they all had to go through way more, but we don't appreciate them as much.
Exactly.
Letter C. Being grown means mastering the self before blaming the world. Now, I'm looking down on my notes here. Give me 1 second. I had something on that. Let's see here.
As you're looking at your notes, being grown means, Chazz, that we have to take ownership, okay? We have to look into what we're made of, okay? And then we have to look at all the flaws and correct those that we can. And once we do that, then we can start the aspect of blaming the world, but we have it backwards. We want to blame the world, but we don't want to do anything about the self. And I hear so many times with people that we all like to talk about our issues, and we should, but we got to come to the point where, what are we going to do? We make excuses for our negligence. We make excuses for our being lethargic. We make excuses for all of those things that we know we should be doing that we don't. And so this is why it's important to have this kind of discussion, because our ancestors, they couldn't make those excuses. They had to do something about their situation and their whole pitiful condition. But again, we always say that we're mastering the self, but most people don't know how to master the self because we're not disciplined, as we said earlier. And so therefore, all we want to do is put out blames, which the blames are legitimate. But when are we going to start doing something inside of us to help us make a change in this world?
Yeah, and I'm sorry for that, but I did finally find my notes here. I should have highlighted it. But basically, you have to shift your focus from external circumstances to internal accountability, cultivating emotional regulation, and fostering self-awareness. See, it's easy for us to blame the world, but we have to be more self-aware. Some of the stuff we can correct on our own, but when things don't go our way or things don't line up the way we think that they should, it's easy for us to blame the world. And that was my biggest takeaway. It's self-awareness and internally having accountability. And that was the main two for those 2 points I had.
Yeah, we want to once again thank everyone who's newly subscribed to Adults Only Real Conversations. Again, your support lets us have the conversations that actually matter. And that's why we entitled this podcast, this broadcast, Adults Only, Real Conversations. Because Chazz, it's now time to have the conversations that's real, not the superficial conversations,
right?
Not the conversations that's always going to blame people and not us do anything about our condition, not the conversations that are going to make people laugh all the time, make people smile. We have to be honest, because if you think about it, we're in the belly of the beast, and right now it is really bad for us as a people. But once again, we don't want to hear these types of truths, because most of us are still immature, see?
Right.
And we don't want to own up to the fact that there's so much more that we can do to better our condition and our situation. But unfortunately, a lot of us really don't want to.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something real quick before we move on. A lot of us don't want to because, brother, like I said a long time ago, a lot of us, when push comes to shove, I don't think we have the instinct and we don't have the heart to really go the mile. All it takes is for someone to threaten our livelihood or really threaten us, and then we'll just bow down and go back into our little houses or apartments and just stay low and stay quiet. Letter D. Being grown means having a plan for yourself. Exactly. You have to have some kind of idea, even if you don't have it all figured out. And listen, you don't have to have everything figured out at a certain age. Like, let's say you got to have everything lined up at the age of 18. No. Even it takes you to 40, 50, but you got to have something that you're going by, because here's the thing. When you don't do that, you're 9 times out of 10 are liable to get yourself in serious trouble. You start doing things, taking risks, doing stupid things that you shouldn't be doing, but you have to have a plan for yourself, or it could end a disaster, especially with the way these police officers are acting nowadays. And on the screen here, this is our brother, Carter G. Woodson. Now, he was a very, very disciplined brother here. And in fact, Carter G. Woodson was a historian, he was an author, and he was the founder of the Association for the Study of African American History. Now, one of his famous quotes, and I shook my head and I was very, very hurt by it, but he was right. He basically said, if you make a man feel that he is inferior, all you have to do is not compel to him or for him to accept that he has inferior status. He will seek it out himself. And there's a lot of other things that he said there. But for a man to accept that he's inferior, he's constantly comparing himself. And back at that time, I'm pretty sure a lot of these people were. But that really, really, really stuck by me when he said that, because a lot of us still have that inferiority mindset.
And this guy that you see on the screen, this is the guy that's responsible for Black History Month. It started off in 1926 as Negro History Week, because they weren't putting our information in the textbooks in the public educational school system. So he started this, he and some other gentlemen, and it was Negro History Week. They chose February because it honored Abraham Lincoln's birthday and also Frederick Douglass' birthday. And then in 1976, it expanded to Black History Month. And many of us don't even know this figure. We don't even know this man's face like we know these movie stars and these athletes' faces. This is a disgrace. It's a shame. And again, I'm not coming down on us as a people. I'm just saying, at what point in our lives are we going to really take advantage of who we are as a people and learn from these people? Carter G. Woodson would probably roll over in his grave if he knew that many of us don't give two hoots about our history, about our culture, about a plan for ourselves. And that's why it's really sad, is because we do broadcasts every week, and many people don't want to listen to these types of discussions because these are challenging, they're real conversations, and they're going to challenge us to be better people. And yet a lot of us, even as adults, we don't want to be better people. We want to remain in the state that we're in, so that when we get old, we can just leave this earth as being people who came on the earth and did nothing, and didn't have anything to actually bring to the forefront.
Got another comment in the screen here. Sports Zone 365 says, "Hey, I see y'all." Okay,
that's one of our YouTube subscribers. You see, that's a YouTube subscriber. So hey, we appreciate that for bringing that in. Sports Zone 365 days 3. We really appreciate you taking your time to watch two brothers. I don't think you've ever watched this broadcast before, but we can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Share this, subscribe to us, tell your friends about it. But again, we talk about real conversations. This broadcast is called Adults Only. And tonight we're talking about what does being grown mean as it relates to Black history, because our ancestors they demonstrated what being grown mean. But a lot of us, we play too much, Chazz.
Yeah.
We're not serious about anything, and that's why we have so many childish mindsets.
Letter E. Being grown means thinking generationally, not only emotionally. And this involves adopting an objective perspective to understand and to break or manage patterns passed down through our family lines. So, for example, and I'm not criticizing here because we all have these kind of people in our families. They could be homosexuals, they could be drunkards, but it's up to us to break that. We can't just sit back and say, well, our uncles and our great-grandfathers and all of them, they were all drunk, so that's just a part of life. No, you have to find somebody in that family tree to break that, even if there's a tree of homosexuals in there. I'm not coming down on them. I'm just using that as an example here, but to say, hey, it stops with me. I'm putting an end to it. But like you said earlier, a lot of us are comfortable with that.
We got to start thinking generationally. Our children, when we leave this earth, a lot of them won't have anything. We know that the European has most of the wealth in the United States of America and in the world. But I'm asking the question, being grown means we're going to think about our youth. We're going to think about generationally, what are we going to leave them? And it may not be even financially, but are we going to teach them the truth about themselves? Are we going to teach them the truth about who they are? Are we going to teach them the truth about their great history? Are we going to treat them with respect? Because that's a sign of being grown. We don't treat each other right. Most of us, men and women alike, we act like little children because we don't know how to treat one another. We treat each other like crap, man. And this has got to stop. This has got to stop. But that's what being grown is all about. You have to not only think emotionally, because a lot of us are just emotional all the time. We never sit back and think about, what does it mean to be grown? When am I going to start displaying that? And this is why it's important to have this kind of discussion, because when you look at us as a people, you're going to find out that a lot of us are sick, man. And I don't mean this to belittle any of us. I'm being honest, because a lot of us are not going to say this. Chazz, a lot of us are sick, man. We are really sick. And we don't really know how to correct the problem, because most of us have brought into this Eurocentric ideology and we don't want any help. And here you have two brothers that's talking about how we can help each other, how we can help us. And a lot of us don't want that. So again, this is very important that we talk about being grown means looking out for those who are going to come behind us.
Yeah, well said. And letter F, being grown knows that with freedom comes responsibility. Yeah, we are free to do a lot of things, such our children, they can't. But being free, being grown, it comes with a lot of responsibility, such as our bills, such as making sure that if you do have children, making sure they get into school on time and things like that. And we have a beautiful quote on the screen here. It says, how far you go in life depends on your being tender with the young, compassionate, and the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and strong. Because somebody in your life, you will have
someday in your life.
I'm sorry, someday in your life, you will have been all of these.
In other words, what George Washington Carver is saying, he's saying that if you really are grown, if you really look into your heart, you're going to know how far you can go, because when you treat people with respect, the aged, when you treat the weak with respect, because you know that someday in your life, you have already been weak. You know, you're going to be aged if you live to see it. And this was a brilliant man. His mind was brilliant, because he was the one, George Washington Carver was born in 1864, and he was a scientist and he was an inventor, and he developed over 300 uses for peanuts and 100 uses for sweet potatoes. Okay. And many of his products came from soybean, from dye, from links, from soap, from paints, from plastics. He was into a Tuskegee Institute. He dealt with soil. He taught farmers how to use their crop rotation. And he was a humble man, because he refused wealth and patents, saying that his work was meant to help humanity, especially poor farmers. When are we going to find people like this, Chazz? Where are we going to find brothers and sisters who have this kind of humility? Those who say, I'm going to be sold out for the cause and not just talk all the time like most of us do. And that's one of the problems that we have in this country.
Yeah, and like you said, when we're gonna find brothers and sisters like him who are humble, because see, all it takes for us to get is a couple of dollars in our pocket or a few people to recognize us, and we start acting like we're better than. And for this brother to be humble enough to say, "Hey, through all walks of life, young, old, poor, rich, or what have you," he still was a humble person, and we don't have a lot of that in this generation.
I told my brother I was gonna make a an announcement for him, and
Okay.
his name is Giovanni Reyes. He's with an organization called OLA, which stands for Hands Off of Latin America. And he started an organization because of what's going on in Venezuela and what's going on in Cuba. And so he wanted me to just kind of say a little bit about it. And so I just wanted to put that up there to let you guys know that Hands Off of Latin America is an anti-imperialist organization that's based in San Antonio, Texas, to gather organizers ready to build much needed solidarity with Latin America and the global South. And he was talking about the effects of what this government in the United States of America is doing right now to Cuba. They have blocked Cuba. They have a oil blockage on Cuba. And the results, Chazz, is Cuba's educational centers are being closed. The University of Havana, Cuba, has moved to a semi-in-person format. The conferences are being postponed. Public transportation has almost completely stopped in all provinces. Their productive centers are only working half days. Their private businesses are coming to a halt, and their production is being stifled, and their power outages they have there is affecting the private lives of citizens. And you hear all of us African Americans always talking about black politics. We should have our own.
Yeah.
Here is a brother that has his own that's needing our support. Anybody that's interested in donating, you can basically donate to Mayat Bookstore in San Antonio, Texas. That's 3455 MLK, because this is very important. And let me just give you guys, let me give you his email information, because that's important if you want to support. And it says here at the bottom, DM or contact us at Ola San Antonio at gmail.com. So please, y'all, there's a bin that he has that you guys, if you want to bring soaps, if you want to bring toilet paper, whatever you want to bring, you can bring them to that address. And if you don't have it right now, just think about when you get a little extra to donate to this cause, because this is a very hard-working brother. I've had him on another broadcast, and he's doing everything he can. And this is why I always say that we always talk about things in the African American community, but when it's time to support, a lot of us are, we're missing in action, and that's what's so sad about most of us, man. It really is.
Yep, and I remember the brother. He was on with you and Brother Kevin. He did an excellent job breaking down everything that's going on, and we actually hope that you guys can help donate to Brother Giovanni as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about, again, Chazz, being grown and having discipline. What does that actually mean? And we're going to put up another point here, and I need you to just talk about this, because this is very, very important.
Okay. Growth tip: freedom without maturity leads right back to control. I'll let you take that one, and I'll piggyback off of it.
In other words, we want to be free, but we want to be kids. If we're going to be free and we're going to display freedom, even though people will say we're not free, well, you can gripe and complain all you want to, but you don't have chains on your wrists. You don't have chains on your feet. The chains are now on our minds, you see. And so I'm saying that we're going to have to think outside the box, because being free and being childish is going to lead us right back to people controlling us. We keep giving our money back to these people. We keep giving our time back to these people. And yet we don't see that we have to display a freedom that's going to help us, not a freedom that's going to put us right back in the same situation that we've been in for many, many years.
Yeah, and a lot of us say, buy black, buy black. Now, if you are going to do that, I recommend that you should in some instances, because some of our own people aren't for us, but for the ones that are for us, if you want to take money and hurt these people's pockets, like we said 1,000 times here, you got to spend it in your own community. It's crazy how these Japs, these Asians, which I have no problem with, they could come over here to America, set up these hair salons around the hood, and these people make profit off of us. But see, they have the mindset to keep it within their people. Us, for the most part, we're not going to do that. So like you said, that is a testament to what you just put on the screen. We got to have some accountability here. And that's the main one. If we want to put a dent in these people's pockets and we find some African-American brothers and sisters who are about the good, we need to start actually keep money in their pockets and take it out of the white man's pocket.
You are watching Adults Only Real Conversations with Jahi and Chazz. We thank you for watching this broadcast. Now, we wanted to show you a video, a Black History video that Chazz and I put together. We use our own music because we do music as well, but we wanted to pay tribute to some of those who are part of our history, some of those who are part of our legacy. So of those who are watching this broadcast, just sit back and enjoy this, but reflect as you're looking at this, because many of these people, they paved the way for us. And some of them you're going to notice because they haven't been gone that long. So that should really let us know that we have a great work to do. So having said that, sit back and enjoy this video, tribute to our ancestors. Man, I tell you, that's really powerful right there, man. It really is powerful.
And see, I was just going to say, that doesn't get showed enough. You know, the news, on TV, we're constantly being portrayed as these evil villains, these thugs, these criminals, these guys who are up to no good. But, you know, our history isn't talked about enough in a positive light. And those brothers and sisters really paved the way. And I really appreciate looking at those photos from our ancestors and some of these people. Some of them have lost their lives in a terrible way as well. Sister Mashonda fires in here. She says so many. And I believe before her, Sister Nikita said, very powerful. We appreciate her for logging in. And that's true. Very powerful. And then she follows up and says, they want us to forget. Yeah, they want us to forget about these people, but then they want to twist and put their own spin on it to make it seem like all our Black brothers and sisters are thugs and criminals and evil and up to no good and on this demonic activity, which I don't agree that it's really like that.
And let's follow it up with a video by one of my students, Kalia Tut, who's going to be talking about Jan Ernst Matzliger. And many of us haven't heard of him, But if it wasn't for this gentleman, the shoes on our feet, Chazz, we may not have been able to afford the shoes on our feet. So he made it affordable, but I'll let you listen to her tell the story.
Okay.
John Ernst Matzeiger was born in 1852 and he died in 1889. He was the first African American to make the shoe lasting machine. It was where the sole connected to the leather. He had 2 investments, but at the age of 36, he died to an illness called tuberculosis. What do you think this world would be without shoes? That's a Black History fact.
Yeah, Chazz, I'll tell you, man, I wanted to talk about something that's important now. And I know we got to definitely get into it when we talk about this whole idea of what does being grown mean. Being grown, Chazz, grown people know how to spend.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the finances that we have. Now, a kid doesn't know how to spend. You
Right.
give a kid some money and the kid is going to just spend it frivolously. They're just going to give it away and just buy stuff that's not important. But many of us adults, we don't know how to spend, but yet we say we're grown. We're always crying broke. We're always begging and we're always borrowing. And it's not that we're just destitute, because everybody falls on hard times. And I get that.
Right.
A lot of us don't even know how to spend. Our ancestors didn't even have anything to spend, but it seems like they made it. They made a way. They made it happen. And this is why it sounds like we're being hard on our people. But I think what you have to listen to is we're just telling the truth.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't want to hear the truth because we want to stay in our bed of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
We want to blame everybody, and we should, because we have enough blame to go around. We get it, the racism, we get it, the sexism, we get it, the bigotry. It's never going to stop. But we got to play the other side of the coin and say, is that going to debilitate us to where we do nothing but gripe and moan and murmur all the time? This is why we have to look at what does being grown, what does it really mean? Because I just don't know if we've actually answered that question. If we've done anything about that. See?
Yeah, and like I said on a few other broadcasts, I mean, some of us are fortunate enough to get overtime, and when we get it, like we said, instead of saving it, holding it for a rainy day, you know, we're constantly on Amazon. We're constantly on these sites to find ways to spend. We're constantly in these stores. And it's okay to do that every now and then. But if that's your habit 90% of the time, then that's not good. And like we said, that shows a sign that that adult isn't mature enough.
Exactly.
Letter G. Being grown means oftentimes turning pain into purpose. Yeah, and there's some things that we go through in life that really, really crushes us. It tears us apart. But we can use that for a purpose, even if that's giving back to the less fortunate, or if that's, mentoring our brothers and sisters in these juvenile centers and stuff like that, because some of them are getting out early. Telling them the right way and showing them, hey, brother, hey, sister, I've been through that. It's not all over. Hope it's not all lost. And this is what you do when you get out. You know, things like that. That's how we can actually turn our pain into purpose instead of turning our pain into going to prison.
Yeah, and then also, you know, when things happen to us that pains us and we all go through it, it's like, do we stay there forever? Do we ever get out? I'm sure all these images that we've been showing, I'm sure these images of George Washington Carver, you know, of Bessie Coleman, you know, of Carter G. Woodson. I'm sure these people, man, I'm sure that they had pain in their lives, but they turned their pain into purpose. And this is one of the things that I like to talk about when it comes to us being so-called African Americans in America. We don't turn our pain into purpose. We turn our pain into gripe sessions all the time.
Right.
We come into the world complaining and we die complaining. We never put together anything that's going to help move the needle forward for us as a people. And this is why I talk like this. And this is why I speak of love. But at the same time, we've got to do better as a group of people. And that's why many times, Chazz, you see people just talking, but they don't do anything, or they're not interested in anything. Listen, our children, man, our children should see us turning our pain into purpose. They should see that when they're kids. And when they become adults, they'll turn their pain into purpose. But we turn our pain into misery. We turn our pain into belly aching. We turn our pain into all woe is me. We turn our pain as to why was I ever born? We turn our pain into I was never asked to be here. We turn our pain into the white man is going to be our enemy till we die, and I can never do anything. It's always his fault, and most of it is. But what about the part that we can do, the little bit that we can do to help us as a people? This is the discussion, Chazz, that I just can't seem to have with us, and I'm including myself. Because we don't want to have that discussion because we're too busy always griping about everything and not doing anything. And this is why we become a group of whiners, a group of complainers, man. That's what we become.
Yeah, and I was going to ask too, I mean, how many years are we going to complain? I mean, it's okay when stuff happens to us for the first couple months or maybe a year, we complain. But like we said, we got to turn the page because a lot of people are going to look at us, as you said, as Debbie Downers. And at some point, you got to turn the page instead of always dwelling on the negative stuff that's happened to you in the past. Growth tip. Grown people don't just survive pain. They transform it into guidance for the next generation. Like I just said, our youth, especially youth, the 13, 14, 15, and sometimes a little bit younger, you know, they do things that we've done that's probably not that good. But if they get into trouble with the police and then they get out, you could tell them, you know, hey, I did what you did. And I'm saying what I said a few minutes ago. But the point is to try to guide them in the right direction, because it's so easy to get caught up in some trouble and then everything is downhill after that and you never recover. But turning that pain into purpose to show them that there's a better way out instead of, like I said, instead of being locked up in these jail cells or detention centers.
We would be a better people, man. We really would be a better people if we had seen our ancestors, not the ones that we show pictures of, because they did that. I'm talking about like our mothers and our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our uncles and our aunts, our cousins. If we had seen them as we grew up, turn their pain into guidance for the next generation. And then when we have pain, many of us will look to it to say, I remember when I was growing up and my uncles, all my aunts, all my cousins, they showed me how to take that pain and use it for my advantage. But see, we can't do that because when we get kicked in the teeth, we stay down and we don't get up, and we don't like to have these kinds of discussions because many of us get ticked off because we're not understanding that we really are going to have to take whatever we've been through, like our ancestors did. They didn't stay down.
Right.
Fannie Lou Hamer didn't stay down. Mary McLeod Bethune, she didn't stay down. She started her own school when they didn't let us go to school. She started her own girls' school. You know, Elijah McCoy, all these people, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, all these people, they did something to help our people. But we living in a day and age where most of us, all we want to do, sit around, stay on that cell phone, look at TV, think about the past, and not do anything that's going to help us.
And Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, preach, brothers. We appreciate her. She's enjoying the broadcast, so we appreciate that comment.
Yeah, it's sad, Chazz. It's sad because a lot of us, we don't even control our spending. Our spending controls us. Again, I want to thank everybody who's into you, those who are on YouTube watching us. Please share this. Please subscribe to us. We're asking you because we definitely need you to subscribe so we can get our viewership up, because many other people need to hear this broadcast. And this is the last point we'll talk about today, because we'll come back next week and conclude it. But this is the last point. This is a good point we can end on right here.
Letter H, being grown means teaching our own children. Yeah, and here's the thing. We let them go to school, which they have to. I get that. But we let it stop right there. Instead of when they get home from school, we should be asking them, hey, what are you learning at school? What are they teaching you? Some of it is nonsense. And then we need to put our own spin on it, teaching them what it means to be a good citizen, things like that, instead of, like I said, relying on these school systems. And then the other part is their friends are teaching them too. And then when they start to get these habits, we're trying to say, well, where did it come from? And they can't help it. They're naive and small, but their friends are teaching them this stuff. So we have to try to fight the school system and some of their friends that's giving them negative advice as well.
Teaching our own children is crucial. If we don't teach them, who will? We already see what has happened to us. We already see that all of us have gone through this miseducational system. And so you would think that we would have more schools, our own schools. We complain about the system, but we keep sending our kids to the same system. We keep complaining about the pipeline, the prison industry, but we're a part of that because we keep sending our little boys to a place where they want them to sit still for 7 hours when you know our little boys are energetic. So they want to put them on medicine and make them take this medicine so when they get older, they can just go out and get drugs because they've already been given drugs in school. So you see, we got to teach our own children, man. And I'm telling you, if you think about it, Chazz, at this year, 2026, we are so far behind time when you think about where we should be. And I'm saying all of us, because of people like you, people like me, and people like other people who won't do anything about the pitiful condition that we see our kids in. Our kids are dying, man. Our kids are starving. Our kids are being fed so much nonsense, and yet we see this, and we still won't look at, like I said, Mary McLeod Bethune. We won't look at Booker T. Washington. We won't look at all these people who took our children in their tutelage and taught them the truth about history, about life, about racism, about sexism, about bigotry, about all the issues, about socialism, about capitalism. We won't do that, Chazz, and something has happened to us. And I don't think we're going to ever recover because it's too far gone. And most of us don't want to even talk this way because we're afraid that what we're going to say is going to offend someone.
Yeah. And that's the point. You know, if you go through life, everybody loves you, everybody agrees with you. Something is wrong there. At certain points, you got to step on people's toes, not because you're trying to be tough or hard, but because sometimes the truths that are uncomfortable have to be spoken. They need to be talked about.
You are watching Adults Only Real Conversations with Chazz and Jahi. So we're just going to come back and keep letting you know that we're excited about this broadcast, and we want you to tell people. I mean, this broadcast should go out everywhere. And again, once you get a viewership, we don't mind you commenting because we will listen and read your comments. But if all you're going to do is complain, maybe this is not the broadcast for you. Because just complaining to be complaining is not going to help. And I know we do have enough to complain about because there are some broadcasts that we have to address the issue, okay?
Right.
But at the same time, Chazz, when are we going to flip this record over and play the album, play the other side? When are these ladies going to start telling their friends about us as far as this Adults Only Real Conversations, as opposed to about, you know, these television shows, you know, this reality TV and all of this nonsense? Again, man, this is something that we have to keep talking about because people are not listening. And I'm thinking that we got to do it until we leave this earth. But to those who have been faithful, those who have been really on point, we really appreciate you watching this because you could have been doing something else. And I hope that you're learning from these broadcasts. I hope you're learning. I hope you're being challenged. And see, a lot of us as adults, that's another thing that we don't have on the screen, but we can say this. Being grown means you're going to be challenged. Mm-hmm. You need to be challenged. Mm-hmm. I need to challenge you. You need to challenge me. See, we don't want to be challenged anymore. We just want to lay in our bed of comfort, drinking lemonade, you know, eating popcorn, watching a movie, talking about how cute somebody is on a movie or how fine somebody is in a movie. We have lost it, man. We have lost it.
Yeah. And like you said, the point is too that you just talked about challenging. We can't even challenge each other because for the most part, even if we're talking in a mild manner voice like this, some of the people misconstrue that and they think that us challenging each other means that we need to start fighting, and that's a no-go as well.
It really is. And again, Chazz, I think that we have to continue. We're going to be talking about this next week. Now, we may not be on next week because there's something going on medically in my family, and I'll let you know. But we may be on, we may not. But even if we do come on, we're going to tell the truth and keep it out there and let people know that, hey, we're on a mission, man. We're on a mission. And I don't care if it's 2 or 1,002 or 1,000,002 or 1,000,002. We've got to keep talking like this, because that's what a lot of us, our young men, need to hear this. Our young ladies need to hear this, you see. And we just have to be all in, because these people that we live in this country with, they're not playing with us. They are not playing with us one iota. So we can't take that little easy route and want to just be seen and heard, so people can think we're all, on the up and up, when we're really not. Yeah. So once again, man, I think we just have to keep on expressing to people, what does being grown mean? Just because you have children, that doesn't mean you're grown. Mm-hmm. Just because you got a house or a car or a nice apartment, fancy clothes, even money in the bank or no money, that doesn't mean that you're grown. I think you answered that question at the outset of this broadcast, which I think we need to look at again, which is this. Being grown describes a person who has developed mentally, emotionally, and behaviorally. And that's what we're working with right now. A group of people who don't want this. Those who do, I applaud you and actually keep it going. Yeah. But a lot of us don't want this. And so we've just dropped the ball. But you can get it, though. You can get it back. Yeah. Because all you have to do is develop mentally. We've done so many broadcasts about the mind, what stress does to us, and then emotions, how we fly off the handle all the time. So being grown describes a person who has developed mentally, like these people here. Like these people here. These people showed us the way, man. They proved to us that they grew up and they had to. But again, unfortunately, many of us don't want to. That's my rant. I'll let you close us out, and we'll end up dealing with the video that we want them to see again, that we put together for our viewers, because that's very important.
Sister Barbara Fires here says, the only way to win is to fight, and we can only fight in unity. That's well said. We got to fight together as far as all in one accord, even though sometimes we don't agree with things, but unity is what's going to get us over the top. And I appreciate you for having me on as always, but this was a good broadcast about being grown. Some of us aren't mature enough. We don't know how to basically teach our kids things. We're always just relying on other people in the school system to teach them. There's other things to life with being an adult besides sitting on these phones, watching TV, and just basically going to work every other day. And the last thing I want to say is being an adult, there are challenges. There are things that hurts us. There are things that's going to set us back. But we can't let that pain constantly be there for year in and year out, year in and year out. Deal with it when it starts. If it lingers for a few months, okay. But every time we talk, every time we post on social media, every time someone talks about our life story, we always have to keep bringing that up. We have to become more mature adults. And that was pretty much all I had to say on that as well.
Okay, so on behalf of Chazz, we thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week, or we may not, but you'll see us every other Wednesday at 6 o'clock that we do come on. So that's what we try to aim for. So we're going to leave you with the video that we put together as the last thing you'll see from us. And just really look at these people and contemplate. These people, they paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I mean, I'm not into anybody's faith and all that, but we say people die for us. Well, these are people that actually died for us. They died for us. Some of these images you see, these people struggled. They sacrificed for us. And what do we get back to them? We won't even watch them. We won't even look at them. We won't even say to them, I appreciate what you did. I mean, so that's what we have to do. And again, we say to Sister Grandma, we say Shem Hotep to her. So we're going to leave you guys with this video. And once again, we can't thank you enough for tuning in, watching Adults Only, Real Conversations with Chazz and Jahi.
Bye.